Hello and welcome everyone. So I'll be explaining quite impressive problem here. Problem B. Really liked it solving. Problem name is morning jogging. Is from the recent Codeforces round, Div 1 plus Div 2 at the Contest 2050. Okay, so let's demonstrate the statement first. So basically, we're not going deep down and explaining each and every statement here. Let's explain what they actually want us to find. Now, basically, you're given n plus 1 checkpoints. Let's say for this case, n is equal to 2. So you would have n plus 1, which means 3 checkpoints. So if I denote that in zero-base indexing, it would look something like 3 would look something like 0, 1, and 2. So I've got these amount of checkpoints. Inside those checkpoints, I will have a certain amount of edge, or you could say length, between each and every consecutive checkpoints. So here I've got 2 checkpoints, total 3 checkpoints. I have denoted them as 0, 1, and 2. So basically you're going to be given something like that, n plus 1 checkpoints, along with m for each and every checkpoints you would have m other length, or you could say an edge value or road. You could say the road length. So from, let's say, let's derive from the 0 checkpoint. If I want to go from 0 checkpoint to the 1, I will have m possible ways for each and every consecutive adjacent checkpoints. So in this case, m is equal to 3, as you can see here. M is equal to 3. I would have from one checkpoint to other. If I want to go, I would have 3 different possible ways. Okay. Now you will also have 3 runner. Runner means m runner. Okay. Number of possible ways of road is equal to the number of runner, so there will be actually the same number. So you would also have m runner, and these m runners will test these each and every possible roads. And the condition is that, let's say for one runner, if he chooses some road, let's say he chose this road, he goes from this, and he chose this road from 0 to 1 checkpoint. He chooses this number 1 serial number 1 road, and then from checkpoint 1 to checkpoint 2, he chooses, let's say, a different path. Let's say he chose this serial number of road, which would have a particular length, which I have denoted here. I'm going to describe that later, but first of all, I'm just explaining you how everything is going on here. Okay, so as you can see, the first runner, if the first runner chooses some path, he has to go each and every checkpoint with only one road that he can take out of those m possible road length. He would choose only one out of those. And when he does that, let's say for first runner he chose this road, and then after that he chose this road, the second runner won't be allowed to use these roads that the previous previous runners used. He cannot use that. So let's say the second runner, only he has then the option to go for the rest of the 2 here. Let's say for the second runner, he chose this road to go 1, and then he chose this road to 1, and then for the last runner, he has nothing but to go and choose this road, because all of the roads apart from that are being taken, are being filled up, and then there's no other option but to go through this road. So I hope you get that. That's how actually the thing works. Okay, that's how they actually calculate each and also it is guaranteed that every road will be taken or covered. Now the answer, the output that you're going to have to give is that you have to arrange the paths of m runners in such a way that you minimize the sum of their tiredness. Now, what is the tiredness value here? The tiredness value refers to that for each and every runner, the paths he chose, okay, you will take the minimum and then add it. Let's say for runner 1, he chose a path, and as you can see, these values denote that you're going to be taking as input, which I've written here. These values denote that, okay, from 0 to 1 checkpoint, there are possible ways of length of road, which are 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so the first runner might take 2. How the efficiency works here, let me derive it first, examining this solution here, this example here. Now the first runner takes 2, and then for the second checkpoint, let's say he took 5. He took 5, not taking 1 and not taking 3. Okay, I will explain you why is that. Okay, let's say he took 5, and then let's say for the second runner he took how do I say, he took, let's say he took 3 and he took 3. Okay, and okay, so 2 and 3, and then 3, 3, and let's say for that, for the next runner he chose 1, sorry, he chose 4 here and then 1 here. Okay, so as you can see, when we do that, what actually happens for each and every runner's possible roads that he has taken? For the third runner, he chose this road, 4-length road of the first checkpoint, and for the second checkpoint he chose 1. Okay, and similarly, for the second runner he chose 3, 3, and the third runner he chose 2 and 5. Now the answer is that the tiredness that that evaluates is that for each and every runner's paths minimum length of road, which is, if I say for the first runner, it will definitely be 2 because he chose the minimum length out of all the possible paths or weights. He chose what is the minimum one for the first runner? It was 2. What for the second runner? It was 3. What for the third runner? It was 1. So you have to arrange these roads, these paths for the M runners in such a way that you minimize the tiredness completely. So how are you going to be doing that problem? Okay, so it's just a basic greedy intuition. Okay, just think about it. Okay, we have to minimize the tiredness, right? So I think sorting would be a great option. Exactly, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. But there's a tricky part here. After the sorting, how to measure what is the greedy move to guarantee that I will always get the minimum, that I will always get the minimum tiredness. What is the guarantee for that? Just imagine if I sort the array, what actually is being sorted? The things that are sorted is the road's length, right? The road's length are being sorted. Now, if you could see that, what would happen if I say that if I take the first m values as my what would happen if I make a statement right now that yes, the first m value after sorting each and every length of edge, the first m values sum is always going to be my tiredness. Now how can I say that? You might say that okay, but there should definitely be some dependencies, right? there should be the checkpoint condition that you need to care about, or the road that you're taking, or the runner that you're taking. Actually, it does not collide with that condition because it is independent. It is not dependent. How is that? Let me tell you. Imagine, let me explain you how is that happening, or why after sorting the first M weight does all the trick for the tiredness. So now if I say generally the solution, why is that? What is that? Is that you would take the first M weight, okay, and you would derive it as your own tiredness. After that, it doesn't matter where you put, how you put, you just have to keep track of the checkpoints, and according to the checkpoints, just gonna add it to those numbers. What we only care about is our first M values. Now the question comes, how are you gonna arrange your first M values after sorting? Of course, after sorting, how are you gonna input your first M values and the possible paths for each and every runner such that you get the minimum tiredness? It is possible. How is that? Now let me explain you this part. Okay, let's erase this part here. It's getting pretty messy around here. Yeah, I think I better have a look on to that. And yeah, there you go. Now let me explain you why I'm taking, or how I'm gonna arrange the first M values, because they do not actually depend on it, on those checkpoints or that, in order to create the tiredness and also to arrange the paths. Now imagine that I've got my first M values. Let's say my first M values, or first three values, are 1, 2, let's take from example 1, 2, and 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now imagine. Okay, so first let's assume that the first point, or the first weight value is in. Let's assume that it is in the second checkpoint. Okay, no problem. It's in the second checkpoint. Also, oh yeah, also one thing to notice is that I can arrange these this in between road blocks or road lengths on my own. Okay, so I can arrange it on my own. It's fully dependent on me. So I will say that the first runner will always go in this direction, second runner will always go in this direction, third runner will always go in this direction. Okay, so I have the ability to change or arrange my orderings from each orderings of each consecutive checkpoints, all possible road length. So I would say that, okay, just to generalize and simplify everything, the first runner would go in this way, second runner would go in this way, third runner would go in this way. Okay, just to make clear everything. Now, as I've told you, okay, let's say the first value is in the second checkpoint. Okay, then I will fill up the second checkpoint. Yes, okay, this is it. This is it. Okay. Now, let's say the second value, which is this basically, and it comes at let's say it belongs to the second checkpoint, or let's say the first checkpoint, it belongs to the first checkpoint. Now I can either assign this value to this road, but I won't do that. Why is that? Because I know that one of my first runner has already got the minimum value through his own paths, like here. So I would rather go for that and choose that option. I hope you get that. So I won't go. So 2 won't be assigned here, even though I know that yeah, it does belong to the first checkpoint, but I won't go for assign it to the first road because I know that this road belongs to my first runner. What about the second one? The second one that I told you, I won't be doing that. Why is that? Because I know the first runner already got its minimum. Let's drag it down to here. Okay, and then comes what? 3. Now let's say that runner 3 comes here. For runner 1, I did that here, right? Runner 1's part ended and terminated here. Runner 2's part for the second length, I will assign it to the runner 2's part, and for the third one, I will assign it to the runner 3's one. Now it doesn't matter which checkpoint it belongs; it is independent of the checkpoint. Okay. So according to the runner, I will just put that in there. So according to the first values, after sorting, the first m values will go to each and every runner. I hope you get that. It doesn't matter, it is independent of the checkpoint. Now if I say for the third value, which is 3, basically it's the third smallest from the first. Okay, it is the third smallest value, which is 3 basically. Now let's assume that okay, 3 is inside my second checkpoint, this checkpoint. So I could either add this 3 here, or I could have an option to assign this 3 here, but I won't do that. I will assign it to its own runner's way, which is basically here. I will assign it here. So by doing that, by allowing the first m operations, I'm allowing that, okay, now I'm guaranteed that each and every runner will have at least the minimum, will choose at least the minimum of length. That's for damn sure, because I have already assigned you that the first runner will always go like this, second runner will go like this, third runner will go like this. So if so I hope you get that here. That's why we're considering the sorting. After sorting, the first m values will go separately to the each and every runners, and after that, depending on the runners, okay, depending on the runners and independent on the checkpoints, doesn't matter. So inside every checkpoints, I will say that independent, it's dependent, the values, the first m values will be dependent on the like the runner. What about the rest of the values? Okay, it doesn't matter. The rest of the values, you will just assign them their respective places that it should be. Let's say for 4, and let's say 4 belongs to the first checkpoint, you will say that, okay, what is the value that is remaining? That is remaining in the first checkpoint, just assign it. For the first value 5, what is the value that is remaining in the second checkpoint? Okay, it is a void here, then you're gonna fill it here. That's what you're gonna be doing for the rest of the part, but for the first m part, you would do that. So I hope you get that. Everything. Let's take you to the code part here. Okay, how did we do all the implementations? Now the way I did is taking n and m and then values, and then took a structure. Inside that structure, I took the length of the road, length of each road, and the checkpoint that each road belongs to. I assigned both of them as my particular value inside my structure, and then adding that structure type inside my vector. I could also have done that using pair vector, but you know, you could have done it using a vector pair. That would do the same thing. And then after that, I just sorted with a boolean function according to the length. I could also have said that return a dot length less than b dot length. I don't know why I did that. Okay, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what actually happens here. you will also going to be doesn't matter what if it's equal or not. It does not actually depend on it. Either way, you could just took a pair of vector and then sort it, but I actually tried to sort in a much more organized way, that if the road's length is equal, then sort them by the checkpoint. You don't need to do that. You only care about sorting according to the weight of each edge or the road length. Okay, after that, taking that sorted, after sorting, what I did, as I've already told you, I am only caring about the first m values. They will make sure that I get my minimum tiredness values. How I am actually allowing that. Now, if you see that I've told you, I'm guaranteeing each and every value. Now, this k++ is actually referring that the first value will go to the first out of all the possible out of all the possible roads. The first road of any checkpoint will consist the minimum, and then the second road of any checkpoint will consist the second most smallest, and then similarly goes on and on till m, of course, and then assigning these values. These are the sorted values, as you know. And for the rest of the values, how do I check, or how do I take care of it? Simply just take all the possible ways, all the possible, let's say, road lengths that are available for each of them. That's why it is length is beginning from m till ll-1. Remember, I'm only considering in a zero-base indexing. Okay, I hope you get that here. And inside that for loop, now one thing to note is this for loop, this first for loop is actually can consist at most 10 to the power 4 values, because this is actually considering all possible weights. So this could at most contain 10 to the power 4, and this value, which we know highest value is the 10 to the power 2. So the overall complexity, I could say n log n and plus and 10 to the power 6, you could say 10 to the power 6 could be the overall complexity big of n square. 10 to the power 6 time, okay, I could say n cube. You could say n cube, where n could be this belongs to n square, I guess, if n is 100, and an m can be up to 100. So you could say something like that. N is very small here. Also, one thing to notice, n is very small here, so we could easily do that. Then this is the value that I'm checking. If it's not being filled, just fill it. That's all we care about. That's it. For each and every checkpoint, possible checkpoint, the roads, I'm just checking out which of the roads are not being filled, but then fill them. And after that, after you fill that, just break it down, because each and every values that are going to be coming will consist different kind of checkpoint values. And for each and every checkpoint values, you would check which of the roads are not being filled. You would fill them and then break it down, or break the loop, break the second loop, and also then go on and on. So I hope you get that. After that, finally printing the answer, and that's it. That's basically it. I hope you get that. Till next time, goodbye.